Hi, I'm John from Oxidation Technologies, and if you have really bad well water, this is the system that may be very helpful for you. Getting rid of iron, high levels of iron, manganese, really high hydrogen sulfide levels. This is a system that's going to add some ozone to your water to be a very powerful tool to help you clean up water. Kills bacteria in the water, a lot of other features about it. So I want to talk to you a little bit about it and explain how it works. I want to actually show you how it's assembled. We can ship it to you in a couple of different components, and we've made it really easy for you to hook up to your existing plumbing. Right here you see this is my water coming in. I just have it hooked up to a garden hose, but there's a water inlet. It's a 1-inch female pipe thread inlet, and a water outlet coming out of the top here. Right now it just kicked in. If you can see on the top here, the blue lights indicate water is flowing. We've got a flow sensor on the outlet of the water, so this would be the treated water, and it's totalizing how much water you're using. And we've got it set so that after 10 gallons of water use, it's going to turn the system on. It's turned the ozone generator on. It's putting ozone in your water and oxidizing contaminants in the water so that they can be filtered. On the top here is an inlet and an outlet for a water filter, especially if you've got iron, other things that can get oxidized and removed from the water. 2 simple ports on the top that'll hook directly to a backwashable water filter. When they're used, then you would open up this valve so that it's forcing the water through the filter and back out. When the filter's not hooked up, you close the valve. The way the system works, like I said, we've got water, raw water coming in at the top here. When it turns on, the 1/2 horsepower pump, it's a very efficient pump for getting this job done, pushing the water through a venturi. And the venturi is creating suction to pull ozone into the water. The ozone's coming from this ozone generator here. And the ozone generator is pulling dry air from this air dryer. So when things are running, right now it's just the faster the water flows, the faster this moves. So I can open this up and now we can see it going faster. When the water stops, it stops flowing. Very easy to adjust how long the pump runs. The pump right now is set to run for 30 seconds. You can turn it up to run for a couple of minutes. And if you're using water quickly, it'll just continually add ozone to the water. You can easily adjust from 0 to 10 how much ozone the generator is producing, if you need more or less ozone. And there's a lot of control here on how you're dosing it. The air dryer is a really important part of any ozone system. We need to have clean, dry air to make ozone for years and years without the equipment failing. Now, this is all industrial equipment, and it's mounted on a powder-coated steel frame. This frame can be easily assembled. All the plumbing components are either stainless steel. This is a Kynar venturi, a Mazzi venturi. All of it holds up very well to ozone. On the bottom here, this controller, we've got our feed gas for the air dryer. The next one plugs into the injection pump, and then you've got a plug for the ozone generator. Flow sensor, right here we're using a totalizer flow sensor. You can actually use just an on-off switch as well, so that as soon as you've got some water flow, it'll turn this on. The flow sensor like this gives you more control because it's measuring really small amounts of water and adding them up. Inside this control box, you can set Right now there's a little dip switch here set for every 10 gallons. You can set it for every 20 gallons and higher amounts. So you have a lot of control. You just have 3 relays in here that are turning on your ozone generator, air dryer, and water pump. The off-gas vent on the top. I'm just going to turn the water on a little bit, so when that kicks on, we're pulling ozone into the water, and that's a gas, along with the dry air. When this generator turns on, you'll see what the flow rate in liters per minute of oxygen is. And undissolved ozone needs to be vented from the top. Behind the blue part here is a 10-gallon tank with, I'll turn it around pretty soon so you can see on the back. But the ozone floating to the top or the leftover air needs to get vented off. And that gets vented off this hose here. This hose, there's really not very much ozone left by the time it reacts with contaminants in the water. If you've got iron or manganese or hydrogen sulfide, but there's going to be some left over. And a lot of customers will just stick this right down a drain. That ozone gas goes down the drain and it very readily turns back to oxygen, and you don't have any problem with fugitive ozone. The ozone has a kind of a sweet, like an after a thunderstorm smell, like an electric smell. If you get too much in a space, it's not good for you to breathe it in, so you wouldn't want to have this running just continuously 24/7 in a small space where you've got a little bit of ozone coming off here. In today's case like that, you'd probably need to find a place where you can vent this safely, but for most applications, you could just run it right down a drain. On the bottom here, we've got a drain with you can put a hose on there. If you need to drain the system down, you can run it right down to a drain. Really easy to take things apart. These fittings here, you can unscrew them. This water pump sets in here. It's very easy to take it apart and assemble this project. So for a plumber, homeowner, we've made this fairly easy to set up and get up running. So I'm going to be taking this apart pretty soon to show you how the parts work together. Typically, when you want to do a setup like this, you want to have it filled with water before you turn it on so that your pump doesn't run without water in there. So after getting things set up, you'd hook your water inlet on. Best to have a valve where you can fill it. As you're filling this tank, the air that might be trapped in there is all going to vent out of this vent out of the top. So everything will fill up with water, and then this is your outlet. You want to have the flow sensor on the outlet of your water. You could have it on the inlet, but if you've got a lot of iron and contaminants in the water, that's going to tend to want to stick on components and eventually might clog up your flow sensor. There's a little paddle wheel in there, but if we got really dirty water, we'd like to keep that on the clean side. So after it goes through the filter and back down, then we're going to be measuring water coming out of here. All right, so the system just kicked on, and it's showing about 4 liters a minute of flow of ozone into the water. You also see some bubbles coming up on the top here, indicate you got gas flowing into the water and coming out. I'm going to turn this to the side a little bit. Got what we call a balance barometer. You'll see the water level is 2 different levels here. It's actually sucking up on the top, so it's drawing this water down. That shows you how much suction you've got. That's pulling ozone out of your ozone generator. When it stops, these will be even again. Now the reason you have something like this on there is to prevent backflow of water. There is a check valve down here on the venturi where the ozone is getting sucked in. But if that check valve would fail or start to leak a little bit of water past it, that water is going to, flow up to this tube. We don't want it coming back into the ozone generator. So it would drop into this tube and it would fill this up until it begins to overflow. And anytime this would start to overflow, you know that you've got a check valve problem that you need to fix. But having a little bit of water overflowing is a much better scenario than having water back up in your ozone generator. You could put a little bucket or something here just in case if you've got sensitive area you don't want to get wet. So the ozone then from here, this tube is going right straight to the ozone generator. And it's creating suction, it's pulling ozone into this space, and then from here to the venturi. Turn this around so you can see the back side. So now you can see the tank in here. It's a 10-gallon tank. You also have a 15-gallon tank. It's going to stand a little bit higher, but all the plumbing still fits. It's really important for the system to have the right size plumbing, especially in the circulation loop. So everything is 1-inch CPVC or stainless steel. And this pump here is pulling water down and pushing it through the venturi on the other side. And that ozonated water then goes up a dip tube and mixes in this tank with your raw water coming in. So here we've got ozonated water coming up through here. And if you have iron things that you need filtered out, as that ozone reacts in here, it's going to cause particles to collect together, cause the iron to precipitate out. So we want to run that to the filter and back again. Now we've got clean water that can go out to the point of use. And that clean water is what we also want running through our pump. So we're taking clean water, using that as a means to transfer the ozone to keep that pump from clogging. So part of the clean water goes in the circulation loop and the rest of it goes out to your point of use. Back here as well, we've got easy connections to the base of the tank. Right at the top here is where your water is coming in, and you can take these caps out, open the valve if you use a filter. So I think I'm going to turn this off and just keep this video running, or we'll break it up into a next video. When we ship this to your house, it'll be in a couple of different boxes, so there'll be some assembly required. Whether you have a plumber do it or you do it yourself. We also have a paper manual that can be used, but video can be helpful. So it'll be in a couple different sections. I'm going to turn the water off. That'll run for about 30 seconds. And I'm going to go shut my water supply off as well, and then drain this system out. All right, so I think I'm going to take this hose off here and use that for my drain tube down there to drain this, so I don't get my floor all wet here. All right, looks like I got 3/8 pipe connection down here. I'm just going to hook this little section here, put it in. Now I can open up this valve and drain all my water out of here. You can see this quickly went down. My water supply disconnected. All right, so my water is draining out, and I'm going to start taking some of these things apart so that you'll see what it looks like when it would come in the boxes and how you would put something like this together. This balance barometer is just on here with a couple clips. When it comes, it's going to come dry, so you will need to, after you got this assembled, put some water in there. If you don't have water in there, Problem you're going to have is it'll run, but it doesn't seem like it's creating any flow, and your ozone generator won't be making any ozone. Once this is filled with water, then it acts as a, yeah, now you've got space in here where you can create some suction. So there's some barbs on the top here. This tubing is actually kind of stiff, and a little torch works really good to soften it up. Got a torch here. And if you can soften this up a little bit, things come apart a lot easier. All right, so here's my balance barometer. And I'm going to unplug, let me unplug the unit here. So this is the main cord, comes right in the side here. This water flow sensor, it's got an M12 connector, and got this wired right directly to this flow sensor. And like I said, we can set these up so that they'll work with just a regular flow switch as well. If you wanted to use this integrated into a system you already had. So here's my power cord, and I'm just going to unplug these different parts: the dryer, the water pump, and the ozone generator. And just got a couple of nuts on the back side here. And our controller comes right off like that. Just set that down there. The ozone generator. I guess before I take that off, I should disconnect the ozone and the feed gas line. By the way, this little color indicator lets you know if the air that's being pulled into it is staying nice and dry. It looks a little bit pink right now. It can take like a whole day of dry air before it turns blue. Blue indicates that it's got nice dry air and that your air dryer is working right. So this is just an indicator to let you know that you're getting dry air. If it's staying pink all the time, you can check on the bottom here. There's a little light that, make sure that this is on all the time. This dryer automatically, there's desiccant beds in there, so it's pulling the air through it to dry it, but when they get saturated, they need to be dried out. Then it switches to a second one. And when it's at the second one, then the first one is getting heated and drying it out. So this has got it's a softer kind of tubing. It comes off easier than this ozone tubing. The ozone tubing is fairly stiff, but it's the only thing that really holds up well to ozone. I'm going to soften that up a little bit, and then that pulls off really easy. And now go ahead and you can unplug the generator down here as well. And there's a nut on the back side that's a little bit hard to get at. Just going to leave those screws in there to hold it in place while I get these off. It'd be a good idea to just put some threaded inserts in there so that you don't have to hold that nut. Kind of loose. There we go. All right, so that's your ozone generator. On the other side here, the air dryer. This comes with the air dryer. I'm just going to take that off for now. And unplug my air dryer. This one comes off the same way. There are some different holes on here for different, we've got some models with a little bit smaller ozone generator that'll fit on there. There may be other drying options that we have in the future. So there's a few different holes. You may need to drill them out a little bit bigger to get this to fit in there. That's the air dryer. A few pieces of hardware here. This air vent on the top, if you get a hold of the white plastic here, this connection up on the top is a compression type fitting. So those pieces, it'll thread right up in the top there. There's a couple of little plastic pieces in there that got to stay in there. Push it up and thread it on. So that's going to be a 5-foot section of tube that'll be in your package. And then this has got a rubber O-ring up in there, so you don't need tape to seal that. You don't want to put tape on there. It doesn't thread all the way up, but there's an O-ring in there that'll seal against it. This is the off-gas vent. All right. So I'm going to show you how to take the pump out next. It looks like our water is completely drained out of here. Oh, still a little bit of water in there yet, but most of it is out. The Venturi here, there is a cap that goes on, and rather than trying to get this, I don't know if you can see it on the video, but there's a cap on here we can turn off. There's replacement caps. We can show you some more details. I'm just threading that off right now. Underneath there is there's a little rubber gasket and a ball and a spring for a check valve. I'm disconnecting this just to make it easier to take this out. So I'm going to remove this plumbing connection. And then on the back, that's actually connected to the bottom of the tank there. I'm going to take this loose because this whole assembly right here is going to come as one piece. So this whole thing, it's going to be called the plumbing manifold, and the easiest way to disconnect it is to take those two bolts right off of here. There's a rubber gasket underneath there. It's doesn't have to be terribly tight to get a good seal. I'm picking a couple of these little bolts off of this fitting for the plumbing. Just holds it right onto the pump. See, there's a little bit of water left in here yet. All right, don't lose your O-ring. There's a Viton O-ring in there. Viton is compatible with Ozone, so that's going to hold up to the Ozone water. And now this whole plumbing assembly is almost ready to come off. I just need to loosen up this stainless steel clamp here, and it'll work fastest if I can just get a drill on there. You know, I'm not sure how with shipping, it might be something that we can keep this all assembled. This is kind of a little more difficult piece to get off. Well, I'm just going to take it apart. All right, once we get that stainless steel clamp off, There's a bracket here that holds it. And basically have a lot of the plumbing all in one chunk here. I'm going to set that off to the side. We got our cord hooked up to our flow sensor. All right, so now we're about down to the pump here, and this pump it's sitting on the ground, but I can just set this whole pump right in here. You see it just pops right up. Okay. So there's 4 holes in the bottom, and this pump is going to come with stainless steel bolts on the bottom that are threaded in there. And that's basically what's setting right on the floor. Those holes help position it where you need it. For shipping, so things don't get broken, these will also be taken apart. So I'll take that apart as well. It'll be the same thing where you've got a couple of these bolts, and just come off really easy. So this is your outlet. Water's, and there's an arrow on the pump that tells you it's the outlet. It's pushing the water up through this venturi that creates suction to pull ozone into the water. These pressure gauges are important because it's going to be a high pressure going into the venturi and a low pressure coming out. This will be the pressure of your water system. It might be up to 60 psi. And then the pressure coming, the pump develops is going to be 100 or a little bit more to create suction on the venturi. All right, so this is the bolts that you take off. There's a rubber O-ring in there, the Viton rubber. You can see that sealed right in here. So this will be the venturi assembly. So now we've got the pump separate. Now really all we have is the frame. And there's just 3 bolts on either side. They're just 1/4 20 bolts, and that will be in your hardware package. Just gonna leave that bolt in there to hold it in place a little bit. All right, so this tank is just sitting in on the top here. I'm going to take the shroud off the top so you can see how that comes loose. All right, so now final piece is this tank. And I'll just lift it up so you can see a little bit how that is put together. Tank comes through the bottom. It's got a head on there, so I need to unthread both of these stainless steel tubing pieces, and then I'll be able to, actually there's a couple of ways I could do it. I can actually just turn the whole tank out too. If I hold on to this, turn the tank, will actually okay, there's the bottom piece, and now the tank is completely loose. As far as lining things up, you'll notice these holes down here are shifted a little bit to the left, so the pump is going to be sitting off to this side. And then with this up in there, the Venturi, so this is actually the back side. Now we'll have some diagrams on the paperwork to make sure we get things orientated correctly. But the one coming up is actually on the back side, and this one going down is on the front side. And that one going down then hooks up to the Venturi assembly. So our ozone water is coming up, getting forced into the tank. This is the ozone water. The hole in the bottom here, this is the water coming out, going, this is ozonated water going to the to the filter. All right, and then we can have the tank free. So when it comes, this will just be a, this won't be in here. I hooked these parts up just so I could hook up a garden hose to it. And it does say out on the top here. That's just the way they label these heads, but it's actually, this is where we're coming in. So we're going to put a sticker on there that says water inlet. The water is going out down by that flow sensor coming out. So there will be some labels on there for where your water connections are going to go. But it's, yeah, that's all it takes for disassembly. So you would assemble it in the reverse. But these will be packaged together in some boxes, and when you take them out, we'll have them listed and have everything that you need to put together an ozone water system for your house. Check it out if we've got any other videos. We keep adding videos, explanations of different process and repairs and things that we can do here. We're all about educating the world about ozone here at Oxidation Technologies. We have lots of different ozone-related equipment, anything that you need related to ozone, big or small. We do, you know, these are our smaller systems, but we do large municipal ozone systems as well. So thank you for watching, and look forward to the next video. Thank you.